Jai Hind to all of you, my dear students. Once again, I Bipin welcome you all to the online class of English Literature. So, my dear student, these classes are being run by Sri Ram Public School, and this classes is for you all. So, today I am here with a new chapter, Gullivers Travels. So, my dear student, before I start the chapter, I would like to introduce you all with the chapter. What does this chapter means? Actually, Gulliver is one of the sailor, and he liked to sail each and every part of the world. So every time he used to sail and was being caught with a storm and was getting to a land which was strange to each and everybody. So now what happens in this chapter? Let us find out the facts, and really student, it is very entertaining chapter and it is very good chapter. You will love it, you will learn it, and you will be entertained by this chapter. So my dear student, before I start the chapter, I would like to ask you all, have you ever been on a sail, or have you ever gone on a rowing of a boat? Suppose you are on a sail and you caught with a storm, and in that storm your boat is vanished, or your boat is totally destroyed, and you reach to a land which is not known to you. How will you survive then? If you reach there, how will you survive then? So before starting the chapter, I would like to go with the background of this chapter. See, here in this chapter there is one sailor whose name is Gulliver. He liked to travel, but by which mode? By sea mode. Because in earlier times there was only sea mode for the traveling. So every time he used to travel by the sea, and when he was reaching in the middle of the sea, or due to some circumstances he was not able to reach at the known land, he was reaching to the strange island. Earlier he reached to the land which was the land of a short people. There the people were very short. Now this time he had reached to a land which was the land of a people which was being ruled by the giants. Okay. So now starting with the chapter, when a person tells the story of in his own life words, it is called an autobiography. First of all, the thing what we have to keep it in our mind is the autobiography. What is autobiography? Suppose you are telling or you are writing your own story in your own words. You are giving your own words to the story. You are writing your own story. You are writing the story of your own life. Then that story is known as a autobiography. That story is known as a autobiography. So which kind of story is known as a autobiography? When you write your own story in your own words, then such type of story is known as an autobiography. Is that clear? So which kind of story is autobiography? When an story or when a person tells the story of his life in his own words, it is called an autobiography. Autobiography is a story of a person which is being told by a person of his own life in his own words. Gulliver, a sailor, was once caught in a land of giants. Gulliver is one of a sailor. Sailor means one who row the boat, one who navigate the ship. That person is known as a sailor. Navik. That person is known as a sailor. A captain of a ship is known as a sailor. One who travels through the sea is known as a sailor. So here, one person whose name is Gulliver, he was once caught in the land of a giant. In which kind of land? In a land where there were giants. Giants means huge people, huge persons who are very huge in size, most huge than us. Just suppose if you are meeting with a person who is very huge, very giant, what do you think about that person? You will be afraid because that person is very giant. That person is very huge. Am I right? This is how he describes his experience. So, every time if a person is, suppose you are on a tour, and when you return from a tour, you come to the classes, and what do you do about that? After that, you just share your experience in that class. You share your experience about the class. So, as I earlier told that a Gulliver was a sailor, he liked to travel, and earlier he was caught in a land of tiny peoples. Then in second time he was caught in the land of a giants. So I am not going to tell you or explain you about his experience of a tiny people, but here in this entertaining and interesting chapter, definitely I am going to tell you about a person who was caught in a land of a giants and what was his experience in that land, how he survived in that land. Okay. On the 16th of June 1730, we discovered land. Gullivers and his men, they all were on a sail, and on the date of 16th June in 1730, in which year? In 1730, when they were sailing in the mid of the sea, they discovered a piece of land. They found a piece of land. They were able to see the piece of land. Our captain sent a dozen men with vessels for water, if any could be found. So, the captain of the ship, as in the sea you cannot drink the sea water because it is salty in the taste. So that is why his captain, his Gulliver's captain, sent 12 men. How many men? 12 men. Dozen means 12 men. He sent 12 men with the tumbler or with the utensil or with the tankers to fetch the water from the land if anywhere it could be found. All the men get out. When all the men get out of the ship and they were searching for the water, so now what happened? When we came to the land, we saw no river or spring nor any inhabitants. Now, when all those men, including Gulliver, when they all came to the land, when they all reached to the land, when they were searching for the water, they were neither they were finding river nor they got any kind of spring, lake, pond to get the water. Neither there were any inhabitants living on that land. Not a single living being they were able to see on that land. That land was totally without inhabitants, without water. There was nothing on that land as they experienced at the first sight. I went on to explore, but Gullivers did not stop. After even seeing that there were no inhabitants, Gulliver did not stop. He moved ahead. He moved more further to explore it, to discover the things around the land. That somewhere he could find the water. The country was barren and rocky. The whole country was covered with stones. The whole country was barren. Barren means without crops. In Hindi, the meaning of a barren is banjar. Okay? And rocky means the whole land was covered with the mountainous rock. There was no soil at all. I turned back to join the crew, only to see them getting into the boat and rowing for the life to get to the ship. And from there, I thought now I should return. Means Gulliver thought that he should return to the ship because there was nothing. But when he returned to join the ship, to join his member, what did he saw? He saw all the men were getting into the boat and they were rowing their boat to get to the ship to save their life. What would have happened? What would have happened that they were saving, they were running, they were escaping from the land to save their life? What could have happened? Now let us find what could have happened, why they were escaping from that piece of land. Okay, so till here it is completed that the captain sent near about 12 men to fetch the water on the land, but nowhere the water could be found, nor a river, nor a pond, nor a lake, nothing was to be there, nor any human beings they were able to see. And Gulliver did not stop. He was exploring the things, but when he find nothing, he thought that he should return. And when he returned, what did he saw? He saw all his men were escaping from the land to save their life. And what was the reason they were escaping? Before I could reach them, I observed a huge creature walking after them in the sea as fast as he could. And before I could reach to my men, before I could reach to the crew, I saw a very huge creature, a giant creature. And he was walking after them in the sea as fast as he could. The water of the ocean almost reached only till his knees. However, the monster was unable to overtake the speeding boat. And the water which was in the ocean, that water was reaching only till his knees. Not more than that, more than his knees. However, that monster, or you can say that huge man, that huge creature, he was not able to overtake that boat which was in a flurry of a speed, which was in very speed. I turned back quickly and climbed up a steep hill with fields of barley on either side and a corn rising up to 40 feet. Immediately I turned back, and after turning back, I climbed a slope hill which was with the fields of barley, and on another side there was a corn which was rising up to 40 feet. Do you know what is the length of your terrace? 11 feet from the ground. And in the field, the farms, the barley was of 40 feet, too much in the height. There was a fence to pass from one field to another. And if you have to pass from one field to another field, there was a fence. Fence means charo taraf ki boundary. When you have to pass from another field to one field to another, as in our villages we have that in the middle we have a maid, which is called in the village language. Same thing, that maid was a fence for the Gulliver there, because the height of that maid was very high. As you can just imagine कि जब फसल की मतलब कि कॉर्न की जो हाइट थी वो 40 फीट की थी, तो वहां के खेत के मेड़ की हाइट कितनी रही होगी. So my dear student, today till here I am explaining. I would be expecting you will enjoy this chapter. Your work, you have to write down the hard words of this chapter. You have to note down each and every hard words, and you have to find out their meanings. This one is for today, and you have to share your experience about your recent tour in